The question that comes to mind is, how long does it take to change a community? How many days does it take? How many hours? When can you quantify that change? Our next TEDx speaker, Masarat Daud.
Okay, well, hello, everybody. I was just joking with everybody that if I forget something, I'm just going to start singing Backstreet Boys. So, yeah. So I also have another OCD of the many OCDs that I have. I have to thank people who've done a lot for me, especially for this project that I'm going to speak about, the 8-Day Academy. 3 people, James Pikeway, Rasha Luta, and Tokir Jamadar. Thank you. So when I start speaking about the 8-Day Academy or whatever that I've done, so everybody tells me, like, oh my God, you're only 26 and you sound like you're 35. So if you ignore the weight, I am 26. And I love making jokes about the weight, by the way. So, oh my God. So I am 26, and I come from a village called Fatehpur, which is on the western side of India. It is a part of Rajasthan, which is basically famous for a lot of its palaces and so on. This village specifically is famous for the mansions, and these are basically people who've painted their life stories in their houses. So everything from their own pictures to a childbirth or to wars, you're going to see that. This is one of them as well. And these are about 300 years old. So the unique thing about this village is that, yes, I call it a village, but actually when you look at the population, it's about 70,000 to 100,000 people, which makes it a town. The unique thing that happened here was, in the 70s, the men in this village, including my father, they moved to the Gulf. Well, just the men. They went there to find work. And so there was a lot of money going back home. So they built all these concrete houses, but the infrastructure, which was everything from education or there are no hospitals, there are clinics, so everything from medicine facilities, all of it remained on the same level. Now imagine there's been a population explosion, so the concrete houses are there are a lot of people there, but the facilities are still there. So it's a village kind of in a town's body, which is really weird, right? These are some of the people who are there. Now what happens in a village or in a small place is that the first victims are the women. So what happens is, for example, in Rajasthan, you have the highest rates of child marriage, and you have the highest female illiteracy rate. I am the first, not the first, maybe one of the first female graduates of my village, which is why everybody thinks I'm overeducated to fit in. Maybe I should have said this before you clap, but I only have a bachelor's degree. So what happens there is, for example, throughout my childhood, I was told, females should not get education. They don't deserve to be educated because they're going to bring shame on the family. And a lot of these girls, my mom was married when she was 13, which is good. My aunts were married when they were 3 months old. And just last month, in fact, when I was at the village, there was a girl who got married. She was 8 years old, and she was sent to the husband's house as well. So there's a lot of these kind of problems that you go and you see them and you come back and you just don't know if this is reality or the reality is what you just saw 3 hours back. This is one of the schools that I have been to. And what happens, okay, now the other thing is the education system. You have people sitting on roofs and all of that. This was the reason why 8-Day Academy was formed. What is the 8-Day Academy? It is basically my view of education system. And I completely agree with Ian, with Sir Ken Robinson, and everybody else who hates education system. And I'm not just speaking about the UAE one. I'm speaking about the global education system. I think, personally, that the education system has failed all of us, because how many of us, during high school, during university, we've been studying, and we know that there's a huge disconnect between what we're studying in a little shell and when we actually go out to the real world. So as urbanites, if the education system has failed all of us, how do you expect this education system to do anything for rural villages? India has this dream of achieving 100% literacy, but it can't do that with an education system that is a failure. So comes the 8-Day Academy, which is my philosophy of functional education, an education that functions. I don't need to wait for 4 years before I get my degree that I need to start doing something with my life, but 8 days and I get moving. So what I did was I did an 8-Day Academy, the first one to escape a really crappy job that paid me really well, ridiculously well, but it just tried to kill my spirit, like strangle it. And I thought, oh my God, what do I do? So I ran away to the village, and I went and taught them computers. In exactly a week, there were 17 people who had never seen a computer before, and exactly a week later, they are all using Microsoft Word, Paint, and they know the theory of computers. And then when I went back 3-4 months later to see what they're doing with it, they have computerized the school records. These 17 people then went on to teach 100 students. So that's 6 times more people. And these 100 students are then going back to their parents and teaching them computers. I went back again in June, July, which was, I think, one of the biggest mistakes of my life. And because I went in the summer in a really kind of a desert region. And so in a month's time, I probably got about 3 nights of sleep. And I thought, oh God, I can't save the world. I can't do this. And especially, the worst part was I was dealing with children. Now, I don't really like them, is a nice way of saying it. Well, and if they're not your own children, you can't do anything to them. And I meant hit them, so. And I worked with children, and I worked with these village teachers on giving them public speaking and giving them communication skills. And these are some of the images you're seeing at some of the children who participated in that. And there's been so many beautiful stories, so touching. I mean, there was one guy who came to me, and he was 23 years old, and he looked 35, not because he was big, but because he just looked 35. And he came to me, and he told me that, I met you at a time when, he was forced to run away from his village because of family disputes. And he ran all the way with his family, came when he didn't have a shirt on his back, didn't even have a shoe. And he said, I was at the brink of committing suicide. But it's amazing how 8 days have entirely changed my perspective of life and of what I can do with myself. This girl, her name is Falak. There have been so many stories, but I'm going to tell you hers. She's 18 years old, and she's been a school teacher from the time she was 15. Her father passed away when she was 15 years old. So on day 1 of the academy, she was sitting with me, and there were actually 12 of us in the room. And I said, well, just come and tell me, why are you scared to speak? And she just starts crying, and she just couldn't talk. And this was just 12 of us. Day 8, she is on the stage in front of 150, 200 people just talking about herself. And I just want to play a little video so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. And remember this picture because we're going to come back to it. Technology glitch. Sound? There are no tailor-made 8-day courses. It's not just computers or English or anything. It's just you walk into any community, you see what problems they have. I create an 8-day structure, and we just go out and teach. So someone saw and read a bit about what I was doing and got in touch with me. And this is the first time that I want to make this announcement at the TEDxDubai stage. 5 days from today, in Pakistan-controlled Kashmir, there's going to be an 8-day academy taught by someone else to women. Was the picture that you saw? on health, nutrition, and inspiring women. And in January, we're teaching children creative thinking. We're working with slum people. So it's just 8-day academy, mobilizing education, going to different villages and different people. And all it needs is 8 days for you to make that choice, be a part of the academy, and change your life. So you don't need to wait for months and years and weeks and everything. All you need is 8 days to change the world. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Woo.